Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gooners Gone Wild podcast. And hold on, shh. Does everybody hear that? Everybody hear that? It sounds like Saliba's taking his keys out of his one pocket and Holland out of the other pocket because Arsenal just got done beating Man City 1-0. First time beating Man City in the Prem since 2016, lads. And it was an electric game. Holy, it was so fire. Ari, what are your thoughts on that result against Man City?
Truthfully and honestly, for the first about 20, 30 minutes, I was a little bit worried about the game. I said it in the group chat, we always come out when we play them and we look like we played scared, like we don't want to attack. Like I said in the group chat, sometimes I wish we'd play mid-lower table teams do against City. They're not afraid to lose anything because there's only things to gain. And I feel like sometimes we just play too cautiously to not, drop points to them. But I think after the 20, 30 minutes passed and we settled into the game a little bit more, I think we looked a lot more convincing. We were very calm on the ball. There's a lot of composure. We were able to move and break the presses. So I think we played really, really well. And I'm happy that we got a little lucky, but we got the result, and that's all that matters.
For sure.
We got lucky. City got lucky.
True.
They got lucky that they were still at 11
Don't say
v
it.
11 for the whole match. Like, we'll touch
we'll
on
talk
that.
on it.
We'll have our own little separate thing for that. But I was so happy with how we played. I think Arteta got the lineup spot on for what we needed. We talked about, even before this, needing to be able to control the midfield. Now, with the injuries and everything that we had coming in, obviously he had to use some of his depth. Ideally, I think we all agree, we would have liked to see a Partey, Odegaard, Rice midfield right from the bat. But again, he is coming off of injury, so having a more solid midfield with Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard, I think was our next best midfield in order to try and control as much of the game as possible. Again, we started off very slow, bit shaky, got a little bit lucky with Ake skying one right outside the 6. But after that, I think we started to settle in, and even more so after Kovacic should have been sent off. I think the game completely took a turn in our favor, and we controlled the match much, much more moving forward. And boys, we finally beat them.
We finally did it.
We finally did it. I know you want to talk about it.
No,
How do you feel about the match?
All right, I'm not even. This is gonna make me sound like a pussy, but listen, I'm not gonna lie. When after the match was done and I was on TikTok, hearing the Peter Drury commentary with North London Forever blasting in the background with the crowd singing it, I'm not gonna lie. I was laying in bed and I cried. It was happy tears, but I cried because I'm crying. I'm crying because, like, dude, it was. I like. Okay, Man City has been the bogey team for Arsenal since 2016.
Oh my god!
Like, I remember back in the days, like before 2016, 2015, like Man United was that bogey team for us for a little bit. Like Tottenham was, they would beat us. They went on that 2-year streak where they were kind of like, dominating us, in the games. But Man City has been the thorn in our side in the Premier League since 2016. And I painfully just remember, like, I think it was 2017. It was 1-1 and we were pressing. And then Aguero has a great breakaway and just him scoring it. It's just like just all the PTSD from City games and all that shit. Like, it was just so relieving. It was just so relieving. And you can ask my dad. I did laps around the house as soon as Martinelli scored. It was crazy. I was dealing with like a little bit of a groin pull and I was still like limping around afterwards. But it was a fire game. The Emirates bouncing as it should have been. And I think that's what we kind of missed against the Tottenham during the Tottenham game, and I think the players knew that they needed to keep the crowd hyped because just Odegaard hyping them up all the time, Arteta hyping them up all the time.
You could see it throughout the whole entire match. All the players are like Let's freaking
For
go.
sure, for sure. So let's get into a little bit more detail about the game now that you guys know our overall thoughts. Let's first talk about the major talking points, as Ari says, and Ari, I'm gonna let you kick it off because this is kind of like what you brought up was the first 25 minutes was very squeaky bum time. we have that at the end, but we had it right in the beginning. So go ahead, Ari. Take it away.
Yeah, so I mean, like, just the way we were possessing, and we had a very difficult time breaking the press at the start of the game, because they're just so well organized, and Pep drills that into them. So they were pressing really well, and the only way out most of the time for us was the ball over the top into Eddie's feet or into uh, Gabriel's feet. So I saw for the first 20-25 minutes, they were really struggling to maintain the ball at their feet after getting it played over the top. But that was really our only way out for the first 15-20 minutes until I assume Arteta made some adjustments or maybe gave some instructions, or maybe the boys just figured it out on their own. But yeah, that first 20-25 minutes was really difficult to watch. And
Yeah.
I just felt like we played scared a little bit. But then as we grew into the game, I think the boys grew in confidence, and like you said, with the fans behind them, I think it gave them a lot of energy and passion, and they drove us forward. So
For sure. And to quote you, in the 4th minute after Ake skied it, you texted the group chat, "I'm gonna poop myself." So I definitely think that was the vibe.
At that point, I was already 2 or 3 beers in at the bar, and I just looked at my phone. I was like, "Yeah, I feel that." And I think that was the feeling throughout the whole entire fan base that was at the bar. It was definitely we pooped ourselves a little bit, and we just kind of moved on.
Yeah, for sure. And you're safe, Ari. No Havertz tattoo on the ass cheek. You're safe. You came very close.
it was
Very close. But you saved it. You saved it. So
you almost got onto one of those headers off the corner.
I know.
I was praying. I was secretly praying. But great
all right,
content.
Doc. How are you feeling now? Doc was at Leveled City. Shout out to them again. Let's hear your first. You kind of already touched on it a little bit, but the first 30 minutes. How did it feel being in that setting around in the bar and stuff like that?
I mean, the bar is always a crazy atmosphere. It's always immaculate there. The fans, 14th Street Gooners, Old City, they always put on they're always set up really, really well there. And I love just the setup of the bar and the atmosphere. It was incredible being there. I know for the first 20-25 minutes, we obviously were very excited, very in the moment, but it was definitely a slower start from us. I think we struggled breaking lines, and City's a very tough squad to break down, especially whenever they're pressing high. It kind of reminded me of Arsenal of the old, where it was just kind of swing it across the back, lose 5 yards, swing it across the back, lose 10 yards, swing it across the back. Oh, it's back at our goalie, clear it all the way out to the halfway line and start over. And that's kind of how it felt for the first 15-20 minutes, where we weren't getting that bypassing ball to like an Odegaard or an Nketiah or a Jesus. The switches weren't as quick. We were a little bit slower. And Arteta actually came out after the match and said that he told Raya to slow the game down intentionally to kind of try and kill or quell City's momentum in the press as well. And to be fair, it worked out well after the first 20-25 minutes. We just kind of had to fight off the initial City press, fight off the initial pressure that we had. And to be fair, the lads did incredibly. What about you, VK? How do you feel?
I mean,
first 20-25 minutes.
Listen. I think our defense did really well. I think our midfield did really well because that was so key in staying organized, right? When we have to absorb that type of pressure, and this is what I'm trying to teach my U19s as well. It's like when you have to absorb that type of pressure, you have to remain disciplined in your position. And I think we saw that a lot from the boys, which very compact. Ben White wasn't going forward as much. Zinni was holding that left back, left center defensive mid really tightly instead of being that freedom, of moving throughout the midfield as he usually has. So I think they did a really good job of being disciplined, apart from one player, and that is Raya. I think he had a very shit game, and if Haaland wasn't in Saliba's back pocket, that game could have easily been 7-0. I don't know. I don't know what, Arteta sees in Raya, to be honest. I'm getting, other than the stop. Hold on. All right, I'm being reactionary. Other than hold on. We gotta rewind that. We gotta rewind. Hold on. Yep, bring it back in. I'm not being reactionary, but there was a lot of mistakes that came from him today, and I think a lot of people, right, in the first half, of course, and I think a lot of people are ignoring it, and I think it does need to be called out. He was putting, and I will say there was a very big unsung hero, and that was Jorginho this weekend, because Jorginho got a lot of shit balls played from Raya, and he dealt with them phenomenally. Even when he lost the ball, he didn't jump in, and I think that's one of the problems that Partey has, is he panics a little bit too much. Like, Jorginho was calm. Unfortunately, that yellow card was very harsh, especially when we get into something in a little bit on the other side. But Raya just had a really shaky 20 minutes, and I think that shakiness, especially when he's your goalkeeper, translates to the other players, and I think that was kind of why they were just a little shaky themselves. We saw Zinchenko lose possession a couple times in the beginning, cleaned it right back up, which, I was starting to have a lot of confidence issues with Zinchenko as well. But, he brought it back in. I'm cool with it. I don't know, man. I think Ramsdale needs to get the nod because it's too sloppy. Like, those 20-25 minutes, they could have, again, if they weren't compact, if he was not, safe in front of his goal, we could have easily conceded 2-3 maybe, just on his errors of distribution alone, going right to, Foden and Kovacic and stuff like that. But with that being said, let's move in to what I think is the pivot of the game, and that is the Kovacic yellow card. I think kind of after this happened, the boys started to wake up a little bit. I'm gonna save my piece for the end because I'm gonna let you guys go first because I need to collect my thoughts about it because I'm so fucking angry about it. But Doc, how do you feel? Red card, straight red, or yellow is fine, and then should have talked about the second? Let's talk about the first one first.
We're going to talk about the first one because I have definite issues with it. I've talked to people about it. I've had plenty of time to think about it. If there is a red card in the Liverpool match, Liverpool versus Tottenham, where a player can go into the ball and then his foot bounces over top and goes the same exact way into somebody's leg and be sent off for that, I do not know how Kovacic was still on the field. It should have been a straight red. People are calling that an orange card. It could have gone either way. My thought is the referee sees that and he doesn't have the balls to say, okay, I'm going to make a big call in this game and change the outlook of the whole entire match by taking a player off in, what was it, like the 34th minute? Something like that. I am not going to make that call. It was a orange card. We're going to err on the side of caution. We're just going to stick with the yellow. I think it 100% easily could have been a straight red, especially because VAR went back and looked at it. I think if they would have taken the to actually look at it properly, taken more time, they would have seen that it should have been a straight red. He is late to the challenge, studs up, straight into Odegaard's plant leg. That is a textbook red card, sending off, see ya, pack your bags, go home. I could keep on going, but I don't want to take the floor. No, I know you guys have a lot to talk about. Ari, how do you feel about it?
No, I 100% agree. I think there needs to be consistency, and I've complained about it, the lack of consistency before. But like, there needs to be consistency across all the games. Like, if the Liverpool game is a red card, like if that incident is a red card, then this is 100% a red card. And if it's not a red card, at the very least, the second one should have been a yellow because it was the exact same tackle. It was literally the exact same tackle as the first one, maybe with a little bit less force. But
he doesn't even take time to look at it either. He just immediately waves it off.
yeah, like it's absurd to me that's not even looked at as a second yellow. Like it's absurd to me. But like you said, the first one is he's late. It studs up. Like it's straight into his ankle. Like that could snap your ankle in half. Like these men are 180 pounds. Like they're sliding full force into your ankle. I'm surprised O even got up after that tackle because
very surprised.
those like have to kill you when they happen.
And that, I mean, but I know, Mark, you're ready. I can see it. It is like you've had time to kind of simmer and settle, and you're like here.
He's hearing our opinions, and it's festering.
Yes.
Just give you one more second. You're good. So if that first one, if Kovacic doesn't make that first tackle and he is not on a yellow, is the one where he goes in Declan Rice a yellow?
100% for sure.
Then how is it not 2 yellows? How is he not being sent off? How are pundits across the board, ones that have kind of slated Arsenal and other stuff like that, freaking Gary Neville is saying that is a sending off. They don't know referees, past referees, I forget his name, came out and said he thinks that City and Kovacic are incredibly lucky that he was still on the field. I don't know how that has happened where we are still 11v11, and they are lucky. The referees, the VAR assistant, and center referee are lucky that game ended up with us winning 1-0. All right, VK. You've waited patiently. The floor is yours.
I'm not going to make the agenda against Arsenal cope because it's, like I said, it doesn't really exist. But I think what does exist is the agenda between just letting the game play out without regulations. And the reason why regulations are in place is so that the game can be played at its highest quality.
And for the safety of the players.
Correct. There is no fucking way that tackle is not a red card. There is absolutely 1000% no way. Because I agree with you in the fact that I don't know how Odegaard played the rest of the match. There is a freeze frame where Odegaard's ankle is fully flexed this way and rolled to the right, and that's just the beginning of the challenge. And it's the plant leg. We already saw one ankle snap this weekend in the Prem, which is horrific. And I think it was the Sheffield United's captain. I can't remember his name. I apologize. I really hope, get well soon. I hope everything is okay. But how can you protect that from happening to other players if you're not going to have the balls to send off? Because now that gives Kovacic range to do it again next week. What if he breaks a leg? What if he breaks someone's leg? Kovacic is known to have those tackles in him. Kovacic has actually been sent off against Arsenal before in the FA Cup final when we won it with Aubameyang and all them. How that wasn't a red is beyond me. And the yellow card and a half, the orange card, that makes no sense to me. There should be no discrepancies of yellow card and a half. Is it a yellow or is it a red? Define it. Michael Oliver needs to grow a fucking pair of testicles because there is no way you could give Martinelli 2 yellows in the same passage of play, but then turn around and see that and not give a red, bro. There's no way. There's no way. I hope the bag that City paid you is enough. Fuck me. Holy shit.
If that's Granit Xhaka, he's sent off.
100%.
100%. If that's anyone in an Arsenal jersey, he's sent off. If that's anyone in a Liverpool jersey, he's sent off. You know why? Because it's not United and it's not Tottenham. Because those are the two that apparently these fucking refs like to just suck the cock of. Like, holy.
Go off, bro.
Okay.
100%. No, I 100% agree.
If that's Xhaka, his entire family goes to jail.
Honestly,
it's
such a bad like span of minutes where the ref just was like, nah, I'm not making that call. It's staying 11v11. And you're right, VK. If they are not going to step up and say, okay, that is a red, that is opening up the doorway for other players to get away with it because it's setting a standard. Whereas, okay, if that wasn't a red in the Arsenal game, why are you giving me a red now?
Right.
Like, if I do that in future matches,
And
why is that a red now?
And it's not like other players from other teams don't watch the matches. We've seen Man City watch other people's matches so that when they win the Prem, they can celebrate. Like, they don't just do that for that one game. They do it throughout. There are players who play for other teams that support other teams. So they're going to go out there and see, okay, I can make this horrible challenge, not get a red, and be fine with it. And here's the other thing I got an issue with before we move on. Why can't VAR look at second yellows? Why? Why? Oh, we can't do it because the regulations are put in place. Who the fuck made the regulations? You! So change them! There is no way. There is no way. There is no way that Kovacic should have been on the field. And then, no. Pep's got balls for bringing him out in the second half. I was like waiting.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to get sent off. Because I didn't see him finishing the match. He should have been sent off in the 35th. And I think a lot of people aren't talking about it because we won. I think if we would have drew or
they're
lost,
lucky.
They're very lucky. And you know what? I'm fucking release the audio, bro. Release it. I want to hear what was said. Because if you could say that Curtis Jones was a red,
so they're penalizing an accident versus not penalizing something that was
intention. Exactly. And you can't tell me it wasn't intentional because he then did it again 90 seconds later. And all you fucking Man United fans can pipe down about the Saka shit. Because if you take all the screenshots of Saka going into Bruno Fernandes, you will literally see 2 seconds. You will literally see, I think it was Delo, push Saka into Fernandes. So pipe down on Twitter, you fucking pussies. Cry more. You're in 12th. All right. Moving on. All right. Okay, go ahead.
One of the other rules that's crazy to me is like how refs are not able to, after they restart play, they're not able to go back to the previous thing. So it's like with that.
Yeah, they can't retroactively.
Yeah. Exactly. So like with that Liverpool game, it's like you're really telling me you can't stop the game in its entirety and then just give them the goal? Like it doesn't change anything in that very moment. Like
it's like timeout. We made a mistake. Stop the game. Make an announcement. This was wrong. It should have been a goal. It's a goal.
And we see that in
We're gonna bring the time back. We made a mistake. It's a goal.
For sure. Yeah. We see it in every other sport. Quite literally every officials challenge in football, the MLB reviews, the basketball headset things. We see it in literally every sport. Why can't Premier League, which is the best sport, Premier League soccer, whatever, why can't, it's the best sport in the world. Why can't we, it's the biggest sport in the world. Why can't we just see that? Okay, I'm at Zen. We're fine. We're good. We're going to move on. So that was.
So past that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so first half ends. I think we ended on a pretty good note after the fact there, where we possessed more. Going into the second half, how did you guys feel? VK, we'll start with you after your rant. Now that you're zen.
No, I'm zen. It's fine. Whew, got heated there. I'm sorry if my mic peaked a little bit. But no, I think we had kudos to Arteta for hyping up the boys. I think he had a really great team speech at halftime. I think the substitution for Martinelli, at first, I was questioning it. I was like, we should have saved him for the 60th. But then to find out Trossard was nursing a little bit of a minor injury. That was the reason.
I actually didn't know that.
Yep, that was the reason for the substitution.
A little bit.
Yeah. Oh God. Doc, find Zed.
I was close to just fucking popping a cap and raging again. So let's just continue. I'm gonna.
No, it's okay. No, you're good. So I think massive substitution. I think Martinelli did in his post-match interview say that he did tell Arteta he was good to go. He was willing to, put it. Let Arteta put his faith into Martinelli, and it paid off. The substitutions, I think that was the best man management that Arteta has made. the Party, Havertz,
Tomiyasu.
and what is it?
Tomiyasu.
Tomiyasu, thank you. I think they all played a huge part. I mean, the 4
They
passes,
combined for
yes,
the last
they
goal.
were the goal. They combined together for the goal. You know, I think his man management was spot on, and as Doc said earlier, oh no, it might have been Ari. Sorry, it was Ari. We came out and played like we were playing low and mid tier teams. We played confidently. We played with swag. Doku, who I don't never heard of him.
That Ben White and Meg.
Yo, and hold on, real quick, before I move on to Ari. Remember when I said Doku has one move? Tell me how that was the first move Doku did when he got onto the pitch, and Zinchenko called him out right away. It just snapped out. He did the little triple step over feint to the right. Zinchenko literally let the step over happen and then just put his foot out and stopped him right away. And I was like, he would listen to the pod. He heard BK's analysis and stopped.
He is a subscriber of GGW, baby.
Oh my god.
He's getting his tactics from the boys.
Yeah. So Ari, go ahead. How were your thoughts before we get into the goal? How were your thoughts leading up to the goal? How did you think that second half went?
Before we even get into the second half, or my second half opinion, I just want to go back to the first half and talk about how Saliba put that big body into Holland. I loved seeing that. I've been seeing that all over Twitter, and that shit gets me hard as a rock.
Baby.
Motherfucker body that Norwegian NPC.
Dude, I've seen memes everywhere of the GTA cover where the dude got the dog chained up, and it's literally Saliba holding the chain and Holland as the dog. And then there's another one I sent to you guys where it's Gabriel, Saliba, and Holland sitting on their lap as a child.
Those are so funny.
Absolute props to the boys though. For that. But okay, so second half opinion then.
Yeah, so back to the second half. I don't know. I was pretty frustrated with Eddie's performance.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I think he should have been one of the first subbed off, and he wasn't. He stayed on the pitch for a lot longer than I feel he should have. I didn't see where he made an impact on the game or where he really put an imprint onto the field. I think Jesus was very, very lively. I think Trossard looked good before he came off with the injury at halftime. Martinelli looked lively. I struggled to find where Eddie did well. He held the ball up a couple of times when we played him over the top to break the press. But aside from that, I don't see what he brings to the table. His finishing, he had that one really good opportunity, right inside the 18. He curled wide. He curled wide by a very good amount. So I was saying in the group chat, I think if we have a clinical striker there, they finish that. It wasn't.
Or at least
it wasn't
put it on goal.
Yeah, or at least put it on frame. It wasn't an easy chance, but I'm not saying it's easy by any means, but I think it's a chance that was wasted. That someone who was clinical could have made something out of. But I was pretty frustrated with his performance. But going into the second half, we looked so much better. We look, like I said, we looked calm, composed. We were breaking the press really well. And this game, I cannot speak volumes enough about how instrumental Declan Rice is to this team.
Gosh, dude.
He won man of the match. The fans voted him man of the match, but he is just him. Gabriel and Saliba are just Rolls Royces of players.
That was a steal that we got him for 105 mil from West Ham.
He is just as good as Rodri.
Better, in my opinion.
He's been so consistent. I don't know about better. I'd put them on the same level right now. Just based off of this season so far, he has. You can't tell me that Declan Rice hasn't done just as much as Rodri has done.
I think Rodri is getting a little bit better in terms of goal contributions, like finishing and scoring. Like he's been getting on the end of a lot of goals lately, like between Champions League and within the Prem. So like he's producing in that factor, but defensively, I think they are hand in hand. I think they're just as good as each other.
Yeah.
And I do feel that this game is an entirely different game if they have Rodri. And I am so glad that he was out because he's just so instrumental to the way City possess the ball and maintain possession. And just like with Rice for us, anytime we lose the ball, he's on it and he wins it back. Like
that's the main reason why we bought him.
And that's exactly what we saw from Rice the entire game. And it's so beautiful to see. Like we lose possession, he immediately wins it back, and then we're back on the front foot. Like it's so nice, and it makes it easier for everyone because when you're in possession, you're not using as much energy to chase down players to defend. So the best form of defense and maintaining your energy is having a good offense and possession, and he allows that for our team, and I can't speak enough about him. He's just such a good player.
I do have to say one thing about the second half, and we talked about Raya and how he was very poor in the first half, but we saw two different keepers in this match. He was like faultless in that second half. He played very, very well in that second half. His distribution was so much better. And he was very, very solid with our back line in the back, maintaining possession and just keeping everything calm.
There's a filthy ball he pinged out to Ben White.
Under pressure.
Exactly.
It was insane.
So we see him in the first half being under pressure and Julian Alvarez almost bagging one the back of our net off of a deflection. And then we see that kind of Raya that we're more used to seeing a little bit more, at least from his first match that he played with the Arsenal. Just pinging balls left and right to players' feet. Very, very good. I think the second half we started much better, and I was very, very happy with Arteta's man management and substitutions. I think he got the timing of the substitutions this match spot on. Like, I know one of them was driven by injury now that I'm finding out with Trossard. So big up Gabby coming in and just playing a world-class game for 45 minutes. And then seeing Partey come on, I think the midfield just calmed down, and we knew that we were going to be fine. Like, you talked about Rodri. They really missed Rodri. We've missed Partey in the midfield so much. Having him back and knowing we have him, Deckers, and Odegaard as our midfield, name me a better midfield trio than that in the Premier League.
I don't think I can.
Like, and people are going to attack me for that. Like, it is pure class. Declan Rice, very, very solid, can play the 6 and the 8. Partey, incredibly solid, can play the 6 and the 8. And then Odegaard, come on. Our captain, fantastic. Yeah, let's see it. Yeah,
sorry.
Captain, fantastic.
Oh, there's there's the Rice.
Yeah. Hey. So, just as much as I agree with you and think that City would have been much better with Rodri in, I think if we have a Partey, Rice, Odegaard midfield, we still win that match comfortably. Like, maybe not comfortably, but we still win that match. But enough about that. Leading up to the goal, we had already talked about it. So we have all of the substitutions linking up to give us the winner. How'd you guys feel?
Go ahead, Ari.
Well, before that, I just want to say there's a handful of opportunities that I was really frustrated with Gabriel Jesus. And Mark and I mentioned it, where he got down the byline numerous times. I know
exactly what you're talking about.
And so many times he could have just squared it, or he just could have played the diagonal back, and it was a tap in like every time.
There was one right before our goal.
That was the most frustrating one.
That one was the most frustrating one. That was Rice was in that pocket.
Declan Rice, I'm pointing to you because of the jersey. Declan Rice was sitting right there. And instead of playing it to him and letting Rice have a shot at goal, he cut
He
it
tried to
in towards
dribble.
Rice and just.
I
all
will
the
say,
defenders
as
bashed.
good as he's played on as good as he played in that match, I definitely think he was one of the main culprits of playing up to the occasion. He was trying way too hard to score against his former team, and you could really see that hunger, which is good, which is what we need. But you also need to have good decision making, which is something especially a forward needs to have in order to be successful. But go ahead, Ari.
But yeah, I mean, the combination for the goal was it was beautiful. I mean, there was a party ball over the top, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right into Tomiyasu, who headed it down to Havertz, and thank God Havertz did not shoot because he would have skied it or put it 20 miles wide. And I'm just so glad that he just laid it back to Martinelli, and then we got a little bit of luck with the deflection, but I mean it was beautiful. We played really quality football like the entire second half, and it was a joy to watch. So that's my take on it. What about you?
Yeah, no, for
One
sure. Oh, go ahead, Doc.
one thing that I wanted to say is props to Arteta's system because Tomiyasu being on the outside of the 18-yard box, one of the most forward players, and Havertz being the other most forward player. We have our left back in their 18-yard box receiving that ball, playing it to Havertz, and props to Havertz, bringing it down with pressure. I forget who it was that was on his back
It
that
was
like
Ruben
bumped him,
Diaz, I believe.
Ruben Diaz, and
Yeah.
tried
It
to
was
knock him off the ball.
it was okay. It was okay.
Was it?
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, he kept possession and then nice, delicate pass back. We've seen people just hit those like layoffs way too hard or not hard enough where they just get intercepted.
And not just
Really
any
nice
people.
soft touch.
And not just any people. We've seen Havertz do it. We've seen
Exactly.
Havertz sky it. So
Yeah. So lays it off, and then I think the Martinelli shot is going on frame, but I think Ederson saves it, and then obviously the deflection. Ball goes in, and then just limbs, man.
limbs.
Just
Absolute
freaking
limbs.
limbs, baby. Just everywhere. The bar went nuts. I think I got beer thrown on me again. My roommate was there with me. He's just a Premier League fan, and he was going nuts. The whole place just freaking erupted. And there are videos of celebrations after. I wish we would have gotten a video of what happened. I think I was getting like tackled by hugs and like from people all over the place. Oh my gosh. It was an insane atmosphere. Absolutely insane. All right, VK.
No, I agree with both of you. I think Ari used the term luck. I'm going to use the term karma. I think that was the karma for Kovacic not being sent off was that goal.
Yeah.
I do agree. I think it was going to be on frame. I think Ederson palms it away for a corner or hits the post and comes back in. I don't think it's a clean save if it is going to, not take that deflection. And honestly, like commiserations to Ake because again, Ake was having a fantastic game, especially going up against Jesus. I think he was the main one keeping up with Jesus. But I did read something that the reason why Tomiyasu was so forward was because Tomiyasu was brought on to handle Doku. And when Doku slid on to Ben White's side, Arteta went, okay, you're still going to come on, change of plans. You're going to be playing a fourth midfielder. You're going to be playing that Zinchenko role.
The inverted role?
The inverted role. And you are going to be the Zinchenko. And that's why he was so far up. So when
Galaxy Brain Arteta, baby.
like when he found out that Doku was going to Ben White's side, which Ben White you got Saliba emptying his pocket to the sleeping Erling Haaland, and then you have Ben White emptying his pocket and finding Doku because Doku was silent.
He didn't do anything.
He was so quiet. But when I tell you, man, that goal, like I'm not a nail biter, but I was biting my nails the entire game. When that goal went in, it was just like. It was.
Ecstasy.
I know it was so good. And even my dad, who's a diehard Liverpool fan, who does root for Arsenal when it's not against Liverpool, but very subdued in a very subdued way. Even he was like screaming because he hates City. You know what I mean? It was just. It was basically if you were a fan of football, you were a fan of that goal.
100%.
Just the build up leading up to it.
And I don't know if you guys have seen it. There's a camera shot of everyone celebrating after not the goal, but after the game. They're all hugging, and it pans, and it's the sunset behind the Emirates. It's them hugging, and it was just like the cotton candy skies looking down on us. It was just, it was so fine, and that puts us joint top with our stinky neighbors, Tottenham. Just real quick before we close.
That's crazy.
I know. Just real quick before we close out. You guys don't think they stay up there, right? You think this is just a very temporary form? I mean, we've seen it. They struggled very heavily against Brentford. They needed a ref screw job to win against Liverpool. I don't think they stay up there for so long.
Go ahead, Ari.
I was gonna say not in a million years with Richarlison over there.
So what I was going to say, I think what's carrying them is Son.
Yeah,
Son
absolutely.
and Maddison are carrying right now, and they're doing a very good job. And props to Van de Ven. He's been a very quality center back for them as well.
Udogie as well. He's been really class, I think.
So when Son stops scoring,
and it will happen,
they start struggling. Yeah. And it will happen. Or if Maddison gets hurt, that's going to be their downfall. Because he is the creative midfielder that they have been lacking, kind of like we were lacking Odegaard until he came in. That's the creative midfielder that they've been lacking, and he is very injury prone.
Very.
As we've seen in his most recent seasons at Leicester, very injury prone. And without him, they will significantly struggle. Without Son scoring and just bagging goals, they will significantly struggle. Because who are they going to trust? Richarlison? Kulusevski? Who else plays winger for them whenever Richarlison moves to the middle? Like they don't have somebody that can come in and be that goal scorer. They lost it with Kane, but they still had Son. And props to Son for stepping in and like being the talisman up top, the main man up top and bagging goals, but it's just not going to last. They don't have the depth in order, at least yet, in order to stay up in the top four and contend for a title.
And I think Manor Solomon just picked up a big injury as well.
He just had surgery,
right?
Yeah, he just had surgery.
Yeah,
so he just had surgery. So that's who they would have brought on. So their depth is gone.
And
if they pick up one or two more injuries, it's over. And even if they don't, they're going to be exhausted. Like they just don't have the depth. Props to Ainge for coming in and changing that squad completely and how they play, because they are playing a lot better under him. It's just not going to last.
For sure.
It's going to be a 3-horse race between us, City, and Liverpool for the title.
For sure. I think I will say on the very 1% chance that they do win the Prem, I think it's really funny that they do it the year Harry Kane leaves. I think that's fucking hilarious.
That would actually be really, really funny.
Be really funny.
And it'll be even better whenever they don't win a single thing.
Oh no, they won't. They won't.
Yeah, they
100%. But before we close out, I know we have some shout outs to give. So I'm gonna give the floor to Doc because I think they're actually both of his shout outs. So Doc, go ahead, give out your shout outs and we'll wrap it up after that.
Yeah, so big shout out to Saturday's football. So I went there this past weekend on Saturday. I waited in a very small line in order to get in and pouring down rain for this specific jersey. This is the Thierry Henry Dreamcast kit. This was one of the first kits that I remember as a child for Arsenal. So they had this sponsor from I think 99 to 2002, something like that.
Yep.
And then it switched to O2 after that. And this was the first kit that I recognized. This was the first kit, or at least sponsor, that Henry wore. He was brought in whenever this was the first season. Dreamcast was a sponsor. So I purchased this there. Great quality. So again, Saturday's football, thank you so much for your hospitality. And I will definitely be back either for me or for the lads to purchase more kits from you.
Get in. Yeah, I want that. I want a right kit, bro.
Dude, if you are in... Oh, speaking of right kits, they had this beautiful... I think it was 90s England 14 right kit. Beautiful condition. It was just a medium, and I can't squeeze my ass into a medium. But, yeah, if you are in New York and you are looking for vintage kits, they drop kits, I believe, almost every single day, and it is just fire drop after fire drop. So Saturday's football, thank you again for another dream kit for me. And yeah, I'll definitely be back soon.
Look at that smile. Oh
For
my
sure.
goodness.
Dude, I love
You're
it, man.
cheesing.
This is probably one of my favorite Arsenal
Yeah.
logos
Yeah.
I
right here.
agree.
The badge. This is probably my favorite one.
Gabe looks like a kid on Christmas
He
Oh,
morning.
dude.
does. Oh
It's like
man.
you should see me walking into that place. It's just vintage jerseys everywhere, and I was just like, I don't have enough hands. And then again, Old City, thank you again for hosting us there. We didn't get any interviews this time because uh everybody was a little bit too inebriated
Too many pints at the pub.
to be willing to be on camera for everything. So again, thank you for hosting us as always. And we will definitely be back, hopefully as a full GGW pod
Yeah,
one of these
At some
times
point,
soon.
hopefully.
Yes.
for sure. I know. I mean, I haven't been there yet, but I think with Leveled City being one of the very few places that are like friendly towards like the podcast and stuff like that, I think no matter what happens, no matter how big or small we get or remain, I think Leveled City is definitely going to be a big part of this channel. So big shout outs to you guys, and I'm very much looking forward to going over there at one point. So all right, lads. A very long podcast, but we knew that was going to happen because this was a
Yeah,
long
we knew it
time
was gonna
coming.
go.
This was a long time coming. We have the international break, so there's not a lot of content for you GGW listeners out there for us in the past couple of weeks. We've been grinding out episodes, grinding out Spotify podcasts, stuff like that. So if you're listening on YouTube and you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to go check out the Spotify. Just simply downloading the podcast and following means so much to us, and it helps a lot more than you know. And if you're over on Spotify, we appreciate you. If you want to hop on over to the YouTube to see some YouTube shorts and to see some, the video to the podcast, we do have video up there. Please go check that out as well. I'm going to say, as we sign out, it is nighttime, so I hope you have a good rest like Erling Haaland is back here. He's making his little bet on the pitch. Him and Dalot should be spooning at this point, but they'll get there eventually. And we will see you back here for our pre-match analysis, hopefully with the four of us against Chelsea on the 22nd. I think is when they play.
21st.
But before that, 21st. My fault.
I think it's on the 21st. Yeah.
But until then, come on, you Gooners.
Come on, you Gooners. And right before we leave here, I just want to thank everybody that has followed us already. We love and appreciate the sport. We just love this club, and we love spreading that love for the club with all of you. So again, thank you very much for following us, whether that be on Instagram, whether that be on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, TikTok, anything like that. We love and appreciate the sport significantly. And like VK said, round 2, baby, as always. Come on, you Gunners, baby.
Get it, lads! Oh my god. Fuck PGMOL.